Welcome, nerds and nerdettes, to Nerd Overdrive, Phoenix Overdrive's official gaming podcast. I am your host and moderator, the maestro of the master race, Rey Navarro, and with me are our game gurus, the queen of the guild, Becky Ruben-Navarro,
Hey guys, what's up?
and El Capitan, Rey Osorio.
Rise above, guys.
E3, day one. It happened. We had two press conferences. EA and Bethesda. Can we just no, we can't just skip.
Can we just say that EA kind of did a thing?
EA did a thing. It happened. All right, you know what? Let's do this. Okay. EA, they did their thing this afternoon. It started at what 4:00? I'm sorry, 4:07. They were 7 minutes late.
And of course, that was Eastern time. That was our time zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was 4:07 Eastern time, 1:07 Pacific time, and basically EA had two simultaneous things going on. One in Los Angeles, one in London. Cool. I think that was the highlight of the whole thing in my perspective.
Oh,
I mean,
man, it was dry and just stale. And I didn't think they could get worse than Hoop God last year.
yeah. I don't know.
It's really sad when this is the big showcase and this is the type of performance you put forward. They did talk about multiple games, but
yeah, there was the stable of EA games that were dropped, and there were a couple things that were exciting. They were, I'm looking forward to them, but for the most part, the entire thing felt drab, and there were parts of it that I got excited for as it started going, and then it just dragged on. And I think what really killed it was in the middle when Jose Mourinho showed up, gave Pete Moore his Jose Mourinho, I'm a DB face, because he is. And that's when it just went, oh, this is going to get awkward, like, by a lot. But, okay, but let's start from the very beginning, because I do want to give EA their due diligence, and we'll cover it all. So they did talk about Vince Stampella did come on, and as I'm knocking my mic over, he did come on, and thanks to leaks, we knew what he was going to be there to talk about. So there's Titanfall 2, talking about the multiplayer. It seemed to be very exciting. I'm gonna take a look at it and see, how it fares, but I'm not gonna. I don't think it's a day one for me per se. It will be on PS4, so good for them to branch out. So PS4, Xbox One, and PC. There's going to be 6 new Titans, more customization, a deeper progression, and as mentioned, there will be a single-player offline campaign, which stresses a bond per se between the pilot and your Titan. So this game is going to be available October 28th. As I said, for Xbox One, PS4, PC. For me, like I said, not necessarily day one. I'm going to take a look at the reviews and really fully see what everybody says about it. But Ray, what did you think?
I mean, from what I saw, I'm very interested, and I'm torn because it was just like, hey, that looks like something I want to play. But then toward the end of the conference, they dropped Battlefield 1, and I was just like, oh man. But I'm interested to see the better customization because I did actually play the first Titanfall on Xbox, and I didn't really get the hooks didn't grab me. I went in and played after it, kind of dried up. The content was done, and the player base wasn't there. So, maybe this will give it more life. And with the single player, which is one of the big beefs that everybody had with it at first, that it was multiplayer only, which seems to be a big thing nowadays, that it multiplayer only stress, so we'll see what it brings. So
what did you think, Becky? I mean, you were out for that afternoon, unfortunately, but you did try to catch up with all of it.
I was. I consider myself very, very lucky that I was grocery shopping. of all the times to be grocery shopping, luckily it was during EA, and I think I had a more exciting time buying groceries. And yeah, one game that definitely really has been communicated to me that I should check out is Fee. And I've definitely had a love for a lot of the indie games and everything like that lately. So I'm interested to see exactly how this turns out. Just looking at some of the gameplay, it feels kind of like a combination of a couple that I've played before. So I'm kind of excited to check it out and see what it brings. I'm hoping EA delivers. It looks like they were endorsing a smaller studio, Zoink Games, and it's definitely interesting it's a personal narrative about the relationship with nature, the land, and its beings. So kind of an interesting indie feel to it, and I'm kind of excited to see what it's going to fully be like when it comes out.
Okay. So one other thing that they did, they definitely were trying to make a huge thing out of this, is establishing the esports narrative. There's actually even a mention of that on Bethesda this evening, but EA Sports has I guess, a league type of system where there's $1 million in total prize money. They're going to set up the Challenger, the Premier, and the EA Major events. Again, it just seemed. I think they were forcing issues that nobody really cared about. I want to say I'm not trying to speak for everybody here, but Ray, what were your thoughts?
I mean, my biggest thing with the whole esports thing, I think they just wanted to jump on the recent bandwagon, I guess, because if you look at things like Turner, they did their own esports thing, and then Major League Gaming is making a play for bigger esports stuff, and stuff like that. And then now you have like the football clubs even joining the esports world with like Overwatch teams. So I think that was a statement that they had to come out and make in a way. I just don't think that they kind of chose the right way to do it,
Yeah.
because it kind of really felt out of place. And I think that was one of the first missteps in the whole thing. Like, they did mention a couple things like, oh, by the way, there's an estimated 2.6 billion gamers on the planet, and we're all connected by gamers, and they wanted to stress the play thing, which was cool. But then they kind of went into this whole thing where they kind of like took that misstep, and they were retreading their words and kind of going over things, and it's like, come on, EA, what are you doing? And that's where it started to kind of fall off the rails. And I was like, okay, EA, come on, you can pick it back up. You can do it. And then they started to, and then they fell off again.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when the show started, they're like, oh, we're gonna bring you stuff about Star Wars, Mass Effect, the EA Sports stuff, and Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2. So it's like, yeah. And then it was just like, oh.
They started the hype train and then they crashed it directly into the nearest wall.
They crashed it into the wall, and they repaired it somehow, brought it back, and then they crashed it again and brought it back, and crashed it again and brought it back, crashed it again. And it's like, then it was just like one big derailment, falling off the cliffside after a while. And
Poor EA. I remember when EA used to be so amazing. Like, they used to be one of the leaders that you used to look to and really enjoy their games and enjoy how they presented information. And, we've said this previously in other shows, but E3 just kind of really confirmed everything that we were thinking about EA.
So aside from that, EA did drop the whole Mass Effect Andromeda thing, talking about bigger game basically with the new cast and more freedom. In EA's world, the F word, aka Frostbite, was utilized quite a bit. With a nice little look behind the scenes, but again, lacking a lot of what you would think would be at E3, which is either a gameplay or trailer or something. That little bit that we saw on there. Okay, what did we see exactly? It's just the artists working on it, which is terrific. Good for them. We love what they do. We appreciate what they do, but we want to see something a little more on the polished side of things. And as it's going to be the theme for what happened with EA's thing today, it was lacking. And Becky, you saw a little bit of that right before you left the house, and what were your impressions on what you saw?
With Mass Effect, it looked really good, but it was really easy to walk out the house at the same time. It wasn't like that normal excitement and hype, with what they were doing. I mean, I get what they were trying to convey and what they were trying to show, but it wasn't what I would expect, especially out of a title like that.
Yeah, it again. I hate to keep utilizing the same word, but lacking is just such a predominant theme. Um, Ray, your thoughts on Mass Effect Andromeda?
I mean, just from what I know, I'm kind of a game nerd like that. So when I first saw it, when they said Frostbite, I was like, wait, is it like Frostbite like 2.2.0, 2.5? Like, did they upgrade the engine? So I did a little bit of digging. So it is a Frostbite 3.0. So that was kind of cool that they're using a brand new engine that they built from the ground up, and that kind of thing. And I mean, Mass Effect looks beautiful from what they showed us, and that kind of thing. But it wasn't anything. It was just like, come on, give us some more. But we're like, hey, we'll give you a look behind the scenes. It's like, no, that's not what we want to see. Like, and as gamers, we can kind of give them flack for it because to a point, some of us are entitled, and I can be put myself in that category sometimes because, we kind of want to see more and we can whine and complain. And, these people are artists and they have jobs and they have families and they're human beings, but it's just, it wasn't enough. Like, for what they're planning to do with that game at this point in the game, I don't think that was enough to kind of feed the gamer more, keep the gamer on the hook, especially with how often or how less frequent they've been giving us updates on stuff lately.
Well, they were also the first show. Usually you expect the first show to come out and really start off the train, not like bore you and go, well, we've got Bethesda later. Who cares about EA?
And see, the thing is they weren't even really they weren't really big on the leaks. Like Bethesda had a lot of leaks, and for goodness sake, Microsoft, what are they going to show tomorrow? Because all their stuff was coming out like crazy today.
Well, when I live tweet tomorrow, I'm just saying, well, expected that. Oh, expected that one too, but that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we had a little bit of Mass Effect again, just not enough to really just give us some oomph. But there is something that I do want to say is that Sean Capri and I were having conversation live on Twitter as things were going on, and I said to Sean, because he made a comment about all the backlash that EA was receiving today, and I said, gamers today, I think we forget, how difficult it is to produce these titles, particularly the AAA titles, when it's becoming a bigger, grander stage for these games. And at the end of the day too, we've become so complacent and so spoiled with what comes out of E3 that when something like this happens today, how do we deal with it? And
at the same time, though, on that opposite point is when you're at a showcase like E3, if you don't bring your A game, you're going to flop. No matter how great some of the products you have are, you are not going to do well. Especially with Mass Effect. How big of a game is that? Or was that, I should say? And how big of a game could it become?
Yeah.
If you don't put your best foot forward, if you don't present well, that's like going in front of, the whole entire nation and talking about something that people really care about. But if you present it wrong, you're done.
Yep. So anyway, we're going to be moving on a little bit to what happened with their, what was it, the free trials that they had this week? Was that what it's called?
Yeah.
With the Outer Rim expansion, the EA Access, Origin Access, and how EA. This is something that we at Phoenix Overdrive are happy to hear. Is they do have a new program called Play to Give, where you can make charitable donations. Code.org, Code 2040, He for She, National Center for Women in Information Technology, Special Effect, all these charitable organizations that are out there for you guys to look into, and we like seeing that because that's one of our core principles. So good for you, EA, to talk a little bit about that. Next is up next is what I felt like this was the showcase of the whole show, or the centerpiece, if you will. There was a lot of FIFA 17 talk. I love my FIFA. Don't get me wrong. I love FIFA. But this went on far too long. It really did. Great. You're talking about my player mode for FIFA 17.
Basically, yeah, it's the
You
equivalent
know,
of a my player
yeah.
mode from the other games.
Which good for them. And then Alex Hunter. Alex Hunter. Who's Alex Hunter? It's kind of like, who is this guy? What is he doing? And I'm thinking, man, what just happened? When he came on the stage, half the people probably are like, who is this kid talking about like being world's greatest or something to that effect? And all of a sudden it's, oh, he's the lead-in to their My Player mode for FIFA. There really is no real football player named Alex. Correction, there was one.
There was one.
This is me dropping some knowledge. Probably 100 years ago is when this guy was around or so. So I don't know. But aside from that, they made a big deal about this one, having the Premier League managers in the game.
That's when your boy was on stage, given the face after he got slighted.
Yeah, well, I think that was planned. Let's face it, that was planned. But God,
I think too much time was spent on that.
There really was. It's like they could have just been like, "Oh, we're gonna have managers features in the games." Cool.
Kind of like what they did last year. Hey, female players are in the game. Okay, cool. On to the next thing.
Yeah. But whereas this one, they actually did a skit involving Jose Mourinho. It's like, why?
They showed his face on camera and then they put the side by side with his face from in game.
Yeah, and I'm going, that's awkward. That was so awkward. Now, knowing Jose and how he is, I don't think he really wanted to do that. But probably Man U was like, you need to go. You need to do
They're like, it's in your contract. You have to do public appearances whenever you're called upon. It's like,
So, but again, overall, just so much emphasis on EA and FIFA. I feel like they did the same thing last year because they had Pele on stage.
Yeah, they had Hoopka. But my thing is like, can we talk about the elephant in the room where they didn't mention NHL at all? Nor did they mention NBA Live at all, which last year that was a big focal point. Hey, we have all this cool crap coming to NBA Live, and we got Hoop God on the stage. And this year we heard nothing of NBA Live, which 2K slaughters every year now. And then we heard nothing of NHL, which is supposed to be using Frostbite Engine, which you would have thought, hey, this is the Frostbite Engine showcase. Everything uses Frostbite. Let's bring this on. I would have rather heard about NHL and hockey stick and puck physics and stuff like that, right? Rather than
Sean Capri and I wanted to hear about 17.
It's like, what?
So aside from that, let's see. You had your Premier League managers. There's talk, as Becky mentioned, about the EA Originals with Faye, which I know she's looking forward to it. And Bobby Pauls over at the Nintendo Guru actually mentioned how he had a conversation with somebody at ZeniMax about this. Or I'm not ZeniMax. I'm sorry. Zoink Games. Sorry, I'm thinking way ahead of our show right now because
you're already skipping ahead to Bethesda. You're like, forgetting EA.
I'm sorry, I apologize. But the Zoink Games and how this was something that he discussed with them last year. So Becky, I know you said something for you to look forward to from EA. It's kind of the same thing as last year with Unravel being a big part of their showcase last year. This felt something that they really wanted to put a lot of focus on for this year.
Yeah, well, I think this might be their way, I think, to get back a little bit. Try to bring people back to EA, partner with some of these smaller studios that actually have some good content to come out with. That's all I've got to say, as far as EA. I'm sorry, but there were a lot of things that they could have done better. As a lot of people are talking about with the dangling Star Wars.
Okay.
Oh man, that
oh,
made me so
God.
angry.
Okay. All right, let's go right into it.
I rage.
All right, so Jade Raymond comes on stage. Great. Here we go. Let's do this. This is how EA salvages this whole thing, right? Right? Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah. Star Wars, woo!
Nope. We are going to create more content for Battlefront. We're going to have a new game in 2018 from Visceral. And Respawn is going to create a Star Wars game. Okay.
And the highlight was Amy Hennig is leading the Visceral team. Cool. That she was the former lead at Naughty Dog. Awesome for Uncharted. Awesome. But then it's just like, and that's it. May the Force be with you. It's like, what?
Yeah. No, that's not cool.
They're like, Star Wars? Here. Star Wars.
Here we go. Here you go. Nope, that's it. Bye-bye. I mean...
But they do have a game that is exciting for a lot of people.
It's exciting, but the thing is...
I'm not talking about Star Wars. I'm off of Star Wars. I'm pulling to EA. On to the next one.
She's like, on to the next thing. She's like,
to the next one.
Bye-bye, Star Wars.
Because there really wasn't much. The lyrical on...
Can I say one thing? They're like, oh, we gave you these cool things like the Star Wars Heroes thing and the Old Republic, and we gave you Battlefront. It's like, oh, so you gave us a failed MMO, a very well selling shooter game, but it doesn't have the content, and you gave us a mobile game that nobody plays. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I just want to make a point that the lyrical on our Twitch chat did say, it's funny. He gives points to the presenter Faye, who he says he felt genuine, and he was, because that's coming from for a smaller studio like Zoink. This is a big deal. Same thing happened last year with the developer for Unravel. He came on. You can tell he was nervous as all heck, and he gave his very best, and he was very passionate about what he was doing, what he was making. So, yeah, definitely points for that. So last but not least, there was a lot of not a lot. It was more of a hey, here's what we've got when it comes to Battlefield 1, showcasing the 64 multiplayer, multiple large vehicles. When it's Battlefield, it's set in World War I. I could get behind it. We'll see. Again, it's another wait and see for me. I'm not hopping onto these games right off the bat and saying, yeah, I gotta get this at day one. This is day one. This is day one. No, it's going to be a wait and see approach, and so that's going to launch October 21st, 2016.
So there's no space between Battlefront or Battlefield and
Titanfall.
There was supposed to be some space, and they launched back to back, week to week.
Yep.
Well, I have to say, for me personally, I would be a little bit more interested, I think, in Battlefield.
Yeah, Becky!
Really?
But that's also because...
Well, because I thought Titanfall, actually had a lot... I don't know. Titanfall seemed a lot more polished to me.
Well, for me, it's more the history aspect. I've played a couple history games that have really pulled me in, and that's where the appeal is for me for Battlefield.
Okay, I get it. That's good. Okay, so before we move on, letter grade for EA. Ray.
D-.
Becky.
I have to agree, D-, mainly for presentation.
I'm going to give them a D, only because of Mass Effect Andromeda being there with a little tease of it, and Titanfall 2.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the information and the couple saving grace moments, it would have probably been an F.
Yeah.
Like it was just dry, boring, and dull. It was just blah.
Okay, well, we're going to move on. But before we do, this is Nerd Overdrive brought to you by Dirty Ass Soaps. Making getting clean just as fun as getting dirty. Check them out at dirtyassoaps.shophandmade.com. Use the coupon code PONTEN for 10% off your next online order. This Twitch chat's getting outrageous already.
The Twitch chat is getting crazy. They're breaking.
I love you guys. All right, so next up, well, more like skip ahead 6 hours later to Bethesda Softworks taking the stage at E3, and whew, what an
Dropping the
opening!
mic right out of the gate.
It was like
Bethesda did it.
It's like, hello, we're Bethesda. This mic drop.
They had started their pre stuff beforehand. They started with a couple things.
With full disclosure, Becky and I did not watch any of the pre stuff. We were engrossed in Game of Thrones at that time. So pre stuff, anything fun from there, Ray?
The pre stuff they let in with the Far Harbor DLC, which if you're a Fallout 4 fan, it looks like it's something definitely you want to pick up. You want to play for more story aspect to get a different perspective. They shared basically Fallout Shelter updates are coming. The mods that are already out on Fallout 4 for PC and Xbox One are coming to PlayStation 4 later this month, so toward the end of June. Elder Scrolls Legends, they gave us the full reveal on that. Basically, it's the strategy card game, the Elder Scrolls online updates, contents, and how they're going to, improve the lore and give you a little bit better, taste of that. And then they revisited the Dishonored 2 trailer revisit and gave us the release date of November 11th, which unfortunately was already leaked beforehand.
Right. And a lot of this stuff they also covered later in the show for anyone who did miss the pre-show, which was actually really cool, just to recap for the people that might have missed it.
Yeah. So,
all right. So, like I said, they started off Quake.
Boom.
Just that one word right there just brings me back to just my younger days of PC gaming. And it was like, oh, okay, you're doing this to me. All right. I like it. Give me more. You remember the nail gun in Quake?
Yes.
The
nail gun was so much fun.
I missed my favorite.
I missed the nail gun. That was like one of the staple weapons in Quake, just like the chainsaw. The chainsaw one and like Gears is like one of the staple weapons. Yeah, the nail gun was a staple weapon in Quake.
I have to say my biggest thing for this was not only did they show an awesome game, but also how they were talking about the capabilities and the basically uncapped potential that this game has for some of the more hardcore PC enthusiasts. They're sitting there going, you know what, my PC is so overpowered. Yes, it's future-proofed, but I'd like a game to really test it out on. And they really talked about that this time with Quake. And it was exciting, even though I know it would probably eat my PC at this point in time. As far as on the high side of things, I could play it definitely on normal, but I won't be able to test it out like Lee is able to.
Oh, Lee probably nerdgasmed all over the place. It's like 120 hertz, unlocked frame rates. Lee's like, yes, mad scientist cackle, ha 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 ha, and going.
I'm sorry for all you console people. It is PC only.
For now, listen.
At this point.
Yeah, because, what was it? Oh, God, what studio is that? Ray, why can't I think of them?
id?
No.
What
for XCOM? For Axis Games. For Axis Games did mention XCOM 2 was going to be PC only, and then not even a full year later, oh, and here we come for console. So console people, it's probably going to be there. They just are building it for the more difficult architecture, if you want to call it that. And then don't take it this the wrong way. It's a dumbing
They're trying
down.
to figure out how to map it appropriately for the console space versus PC.
Yeah. But yeah, that. But as they said, 120 hertz unlock frame rates. I like that. That's thumbs up for me. Are you ready, big boy? You ready? Let's do this. So after the Quake Champions, the global VP Vice President of PR Marketing Pete Hines came on with a recap of the Elder Scrolls Online MMO, being MMO of the year rather for 2015. Talked about Fallout Shelter and Fallout 4 Game of the Year and mods on Xbox One, PS4. Doom being released to rave reviews. It was more of like a recap of what happened for Bethesda the past year, which I think it's one of their better years that they've had for sure, with several titles coming out that really a lot of people were happy about. So then they also talked about some Fallout 4 content. I'm sorry, Elder Scrolls Legends was talked about first, with the opening cinematic. So if you guys want to sign up for the beta, go to Bethesda.net, because it's coming to PC, Mac, Android, and iOS. So check
And
it
look,
out.
Mac got a game.
Mac got a game.
Wow. Anyway.
We had to do it for you, Lee.
I am too hyped for this being so late.
So there's more talks about Fallout Shelter, the mobile hit game of last year with coming to PC. There was something else that happened. There was some game from a few years ago. Starts with an S. It's like Skirm or Skyrim, right? Skyrim?
Yeah, Elder Scrolls
Something
5 Skyrim.
Yeah, something like that. And they're remastering it, so... Oh my god, they're remastering Skyrim.
Yeah.
Let's hope it's not broken.
Well, you know what? It looked really good, I have to say. A comment that I had made is it's amazing to see what last generation looked like comparatively to now, just how fast the technology is changing and just how amazing these things look. And for not being a Skyrim person, it looked fantastic. Like, this is just a world I want to watch someone go through.
Well, the thing is, see, okay, I've experienced Skyrim on both PC and the 360. Played it on the 360, and I was like,
I played it on PS3. It was broken.
Whereas PC, with the capabilities to mod Skyrim, it just was just an intense world.
Mm-hmm.
It really was just such an intense world. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Bethesda, what they've learned from before, and how they're going to release this and how they're going to show, their ability as a studio, to really just redesign a game and remaster it to make it look so much better than it was. I'm really excited to see that. There was also the what was that? The Fallout, the Vault Tech thing or something.
Yes, I was wondering when you were going to get back to that.
I'm
Fallout
sorry.
4 has a lot of
Contraptions.
different things going to it.
Fallout
The
4's got a lot.
contraptions, the book Your Wasteland Vacation, just there's a lot of little things that really Bethesda knows how to do to support their games and keep them going.
It's
A lot of
expanding.
interesting, add-ons. They're not really, I wouldn't say I would call them a full-blown expansion, but they're awesome add-ons to the game to enhance the experience.
Right, and they're expanding the games to be, they're adding to the games. They're expanding the universe of the games, and I like that direction. I made a joke saying, so The Sims in Fallout, basically, is what's going on here.
That's kind of what it looks like.
We already had this.
We already had, we already had some, but they're just adding to it, and it's just,
Anyway, so like I said, so they did the Skyrim presentation, which was great, and that was followed by Arcane Studios president Rafael Colantonio. Prey. Oh,
yes.
Goodness.
Prey. Oh, pretty Prey. Oh.
Ooh, looks so good.
It does. It does.
I got the chills.
That would be one that I'd potentially get into.
Groundhog Day thing going on there.
Yeah.
It's like, today is 2032. You have a meeting, and it's like, oh, okay. And it was like same thing over and over again. It was like, what the heck is this? And they're like, oh, it's a new game because we want to concentrate on story experiences and interactive worlds and this, that, the other. It's like, this looks good. What is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Well, it was cool just during the trailer as you're seeing that one eye just get more and more bloodshot and everything. And I was like, okay, this is really leading up to that intense point once you see the full red eye going on. And it was like, then they jumped into some of the action. That looked absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Delirical is asking in the chat, he said, what the Hades is Prey?
Wow.
Yeah, he's asking in the chat what the Hades is Prey.
It's a reboot to the original Prey.
Yeah.
Basically. The original Prey it's a first-person shooter from, what, 06, I think? 07? 06. I think it was 06.
I think it was 2006, I want
Yeah,
to say.
because I think that was 2K Games released it. And, excuse me, the story focused on this, oh God, what's his name? Tommy, I think, and his girlfriend, his girlfriend, his grandfather, they're like aboard like a spaceship.
Yeah, it was 2006.
Yeah. Yeah,
It was done by 3D Realms. 2K published it.
Yep. Oh man, that was a fun game, man. I enjoyed that.
I remember that game. And wasn't Prey 2 like supposedly in development for like
2,
a long time?
Yeah, Prey 2 was in development for like the longest time, but they ended up killing it off basically last year, which they had a lot finished at that point, but they decided to just scrap the whole thing, which I think the reason why is because they wanted to reboot the whole game and just create a new one from it, and they're using a lot of those assets. So I don't know why they didn't make. I mean, there's a lot to question, but we don't know. But anyway, so yeah, it's definitely something I'm excited for, and I'm looking forward to seeing. I guarantee you, Prey is going to be similar to how like Fallout 4 was last year and Dishonored was this year. You know, Dishonored 2. It's going to be like their 2017 game, their featured game for E3 of next year. So moving on, Marty Stratton of id Software, talking about the Doom Snap Map and the updates and everything of that sort. A lot of news, a lot of stuff for Doom. And for this week, actually, if you guys are interested, you can download the first level. You can download Doom and play the first level for free on PC, PS4, Xbox One. So if you guys are still thinking of getting Doom, especially just for the single player, here's the best way for you guys to check it out. We're going to have to do that, aren't we, Beck?
Absolutely.
Oh,
And
yeah.
also just make sure that you are aware it is for E3 week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just for this till what? Saturday? Right?
Yeah, probably till Saturday.
Yeah. So Elder Scrolls Online game director Matt Ferrer came on, recaps the 7 million active players coming to Japan. There's the Dark Brotherhood DLC inspired by Oblivion coming to console. One Tamriel this fall. No more level restrictions. The game world is open from the end of tutorial. Ray, you couldn't get behind this, could you? I mean, you just...
I mean, I could probably now because I think that was one of the big things that stopped me from getting into it because I have friends that played the Elder Scrolls Online on PS4 because that's where I have it. And one of the things is every time I wanted to join them, it's like, oh, you're not high enough level to do this mission. You know how in some games you can join up and they would just power level you?
Yeah.
They were trying to avoid that, I guess, from happening. So I couldn't join my friends to play with them because they were higher level than me. So now basically it's just saying, okay, well, yeah, you can go tag along with your friends and do whatever, play with whoever, no matter where they are or how strong they are. So I guess that's kind of cool. I guess that's one way of combating that and getting people to play your game because that made a lot of people angry because a lot of people were like, hey, I picked this up to play with my friend. But I mean, you go on the message boards and that's like one of the hot topics is I picked this up to play with a friend and I can't even play my friend. What the F? I can't. And it's frustrating.
Yeah, I can understand that, but at the same time, if you want to get to that high level to be able to do those things, you usually grind through and you get it done. I think it could be a horrible catch-22 in a lot of senses, because it kind of defeats the want to build up your character.
Yeah, but I mean, like me, I had friends that were like level like 7 or 10, and some of the starting stuff, it would take you hours to get through because it was like dumb fetch quests and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, we
You
we
know.
experienced that in
Yeah.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah, you know, and
Once
you're
you
just like,
finally got to that point, it was like you had this huge honor to do stuff. You know,
yeah,
it's the same thing with Guild Wars. You know, where you really couldn't participate in it because you'd get your butt handed to you. But at the same time, once you finally reached that, it was like a real sense of accomplishment.
yeah, I
This
know, I
kind of
know that
seems
feeling
like
too.
the cheap way out.
Yeah, I don't.
But that's just my opinion. You know, I'm not an Elder Scrolls person at all. You know, I definitely have my niche and my universes. You know, Blizzard owns my soul. They probably always will.
Mhm.
You know, and Guild Wars, as much fun as it was, they still have more of a pull than Elder Scrolls does. And I just don't think that this is really the solution.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, we'll have to see how it goes from there. I mean, it's one of those things where we'll see how it. It's not coming out to this fall, so people are like, "What? That's awesome!" But it's like this fall, they're like, "Aw," because they made
What
it
happens
sound.
at E3, it's not like, hey, coming out next week.
Yeah. So, Lee,
I think everybody was waiting for like an available now type of drop from them, but
I mean, some of the Fallout Shelter stuff was like available now,
yeah,
and
I'm
stuff
saying
like that,
like for
which was
something
cool.
big, for something big.
Yeah, that's true.
But you said my name. What do you want?
Yeah,
Uh,
so how about the VR?
the big boys swinging, coming out big. The battle lines have been drawn, Lee.
They're trying to get me on that train, aren't they? They're
I
really
think
wanting me to
so,
board
but
it.
I mean, for all we know, we don't know the details of this. So, to save Lee the trouble, since I'm already talking, so Bethesda VR, they come out and say Doom and Fallout 4 are coming to VR, and that Fallout 4 is coming 2017, and it's coming to HTC Vive or Vive or however you pronounce it. I remember it's Vive because it's French. You know, that's how I kind of remembered it. But for the fact of them saying that it's coming to the Vive, coming to HTC, is that them basically confirming that it may possibly be exclusive to VR, to that VR headset?
Well, think
And
of
if
it.
so,
Sounds like it.
if so, is this the beginning of a horrible VR war, like we see with the console wars? Possibly.
Think of it this way, though. Bethesda's games are naturally installed through Steam. There's already like an infrastructure in place right there. And Valve is the one who's basically fronting the HTC Vive
They're
for
backing them
they're
very
backing
hardcore.
them
Yeah.
very hardcore. So I totally could make sense of this. Now, as far as an impending VR war, you need to create that market first.
I mean, we're already seeing it where certain games are coming only to Oculus, and now with this,
Well,
there's
I'm saying you need
possibility
to
for
you need to
games are
create
only
like an
coming.
absolute demand for it, which
That's true.
I'm sorry to say there isn't a terrific
yet.
like a terrible demand for it yet because of the demands of VR.
Yeah, well, that and also people are very skeptical of VR. But this is also a great way to try to get people more intrigued because more and more of these companies are going towards it. Yeah, at first it's not going to catch on that great. You know, nobody is really that excited for VR and has that necessary cash flow needed to get all these different headsets. However, if you have to just pick one, that's what these companies are doing by aligning with certain ones. How big of a fan are you of this company versus this company? You know, that's going to really drive the market in one way or another.
Yeah.
Do you want to align with Bethesda? You do want to align with, some of the other companies that are steering towards Oculus? This is how you drive the market in certain ways. And this is really going to prove who is going to survive the VR releases. It's not going to be fast, but there are people already jumping on those trains.
Yeah,
Which
and I think it's a good thing though that we see a flagship title like Fallout 4 coming to VR number one because that shows that they have a belief in VR.
Absolutely.
And then them aligning with the headset already, that shows even bigger that they're willing to take the risk of backing that, that headset. So,
well, the funny thing is, you guys actually just answered like Antonio's question because he dropped off a question of how will I deal with exclusive VR games? Who has the money for more than one headset? Some
You
people.
have to pick, bro. You have like if you don't have enough money to buy, like, let's say if you're a PC gamer and you want a console, or if you're a gamer and you have one choice to get one or the other, you kind of have to figure out where your gamer tastes lie to buy one or the other over the other or whatever until you can get both, or if you can get both.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, how do you pick between a PS4 and Xbox? This isn't anything that is that insane of a choice per se. You've got to look at what titles you want to go for.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. It's choosing like between a PS4 and an Xbox. Where do you want to sit? What do you want to do?
He's poor, no money. You
I
just
thought you were going to bed, Antonio.
you're going to bed.
You said, I'm going to bed. I got to go to bed. He's
He's like, oh, I'm poor, no monies.
Yeah, he wanted to wait for us to answer
Hi,
his question.
Denver.
That's what it is.
Okay, so last but not least, like I said, Bethesda's game for this year, Dishonored, was they did a pretty good job of marketing this game tonight at their conference. And anyway, Harvey Smith, creative director for Dishonored 2, came on stage. Talked about the game engine, the Void game engine, the world design, how it's a layered environment. Talked about the character's background, rather, the main characters. And the history of the game, for the backstory, if you will, the combat tactics, the powers that you have. It was excellent the way they showed it. I touched on the original Dishonored. Didn't get as much experience with it as I had hoped. It is on my 360, so I might get the 360 up and running again, and try to play it to see what the first one was all about. It did seem very interesting, but Dishonored 2 looks terrific. I mean, top to bottom, it looks absolutely gorgeous.
So, was I the only one thinking that the way that they were doing a lot of the different things, the sneaking around and everything, is kind of what Assassin's Creed should have been? As far as the style, like just certain elements to it.
It's stealthy. It's a stealthy game for sure. But I think in Assassin's Creed, you couldn't get away with not killing somebody, right? You had to kill people.
Assassin's Creed, there are missions where you have to assassinate people.
Yeah,
the first Dishonored, there actually is an achievement for getting through the entire game without killing anyone.
Yeah.
Right, and I thought there was in the last Assassin's Creed, and I could be totally wrong, I thought there was the ability to choose between being more passive versus actually killing.
Yeah, you can be more passive, but there are still many moments where you have to kill.
Yeah.
In Dishonored, you have the choice of killing, not killing, disarming, doing whatever, taking the stealth approach and going past areas, because that's one thing that they prided themselves on. Like, you can not enter combat at all. You can avoid everyone. And that was actually one of the big things, because the world, by killing people and making those choices, it actually affected your ending in the first Dishonored. So, because that's why they mentioned the rats. Because the more people you killed, the more rats were in Dunwall, and that had an effect on the city. Whereas I do actually, Delirical actually took one of my points. I was actually thinking it had kind of like a BioShock and like a BioShock Infinite vibe to it.
Yep.
Along with some of the elements from what we saw with Thief, with the remaster of Thief. Which is actually very cool. And I saw a lot more of like when they were talking about it, they were talking about more of like a Mediterranean feel. It was a lot more vertical than Dunwall was. I mean, just the landscapes, like they talked about the alleyways and the history of the way the characters and the way that the environments would be, and the character that the environments had, like the walls and the posters that they said that you could see old posters and, this, that, and all of that, and it just looked phenomenal. Like, just not, because looks alone don't sell a game for me. Gameplay is good. Dishonored had very good gameplay, and for them using a new engine, meant for PC and new gen, this current gen that we're in, I'm definitely interested in it.
This might honestly be one that I would look into picking up.
Okay. So just to quickly finish off, they did talk about. They did show a gameplay trailer reveal, and also the collector's edition, which I mean, whoever is a big fan of this, jump on it now because they've got the Corvo's mask and Emily's ring, coming with the collector's edition, and you also get, was that a free copy of the definitive edition?
Yeah, a free digital copy of the Dishonored Definitive Edition for a limited time for those who pre-order soon.
So if you pre-order, you get the original definitive edition. So get on that. So overall, Bethesda, top to bottom, I think had a much better press conference this evening than EA did. It wasn't knock it out of the park type of from last year, but I think last year's we're putting it on a pedestal too at the same time.
Yeah, last year they came out guns blazing. Last year was like an A, you know, and if we're gonna give scores, I give our letter grade. I think Bethesda's was a solid B. Like, it was good. It wasn't like phenomenal.
Steal my thunder.
Sorry.
Getting ahead of me.
I knew where you were going. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, so.
And this is what happens when Nerd Overdrive stays up late.
Yes, because we were
12:15. Okay, so just to close it off, Becky, letter grade.
I'd have to say B+. Yes, it wasn't quite, the A+ infinite that we thought last year's was, but they still delivered in true Bethesda style. They started off strong. They kept it going, pretty even throughout the whole thing. Yeah, there was a little bit of a dip in the middle, but definitely kept it strong to the end, and B+.
Okay, Ray.
B. It was solid. It was good. It wasn't like overwhelmingly great. It was good. It was solid for Bethesda. It wasn't the insanity, oh my goodness moments like last year, like when they showed us Doom and Fallout 4 drop and all that stuff. But it was good. And I'm excited to kind of see what more, because there's still going to be other stuff that maybe didn't showcase that other information.
Right, because just like last year, they showcased a lot more of Fallout 4 at the Microsoft press conference the next day after. So for me, a B+. For me, it's all about the Quake drop, because I truly enjoyed that, and also Prey. So those are the two that I'm looking forward to from Bethesda. So that will do it for day one. I know it's a short, quick little show here. So, well, for the most part, we've had long.
Just about an hour.
Just about an hour here. But before we close this show off, this is Nerd Overdrive, brought to you by the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. Put your money where the miracles are. Check us out at facebook.com/Phoenix Overdrive, or check out our team page at extra-life.org/team/Phoenix Overdrive 16. Sign up now and you can be a hero to the kids and help put the money where the miracles are, as fundraising will continue through December 31st, 2016. Also, our raffles are out. This bad boy right here, the Uncharted Collection, PlayStation 4, 500 gigs, black. You got the 3 Uncharted games remastered for the PS4. If you want to participate, it's $2. So just head on over to extra-life.org/participant/PS4 bundle 16 to join up with that. Make sure that you do give your name and email address. Do not donate anonymously. Otherwise, we can't throw you into the raffle. All right. Day one. So with, two very different type of conferences, but we've got 4 tomorrow. 4 of them tomorrow.
Oh, goodness.
Gosh. Microsoft, the PC Gaming Show, Ubisoft, and Sony.
Ending the night with Sony, yep.
Ending the night with Sony. So
Hopefully it's not as bad of a disappointment as last year.
What?
Really?
Wasn't it Sony that was terrible last year?
Microsoft.
Oh, it was Microsoft. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Sony. My bad.
Sony had FF7 Remake drop.
Oh, that's right.
Sony had
and Shenmue 3.
Oh, it's been a year. Stop. You guys are older than me. Listen, next time you guys screw up, just wait. I will blast you.
Hold on. Before we sign off for the night, from myself and Ray, happy birthday, Becky. It's your birthday today still.
Birthday,
Well, it was.
Becky.
Never mind, it's not your birthday
It
anymore.
was.
It
It
was.
was.
Never
It
mind, we're
was.
done. All right, well, that will be game over from us for now. If you liked the video, hit like. If you didn't, try again. And send us some feedback, nerd@phoenixoverdrive.com, or send us a tweet at nerd_overdrive, or hit us up on Facebook, fb.com/group/PhoenixOverdriveNation. Check out our previous shows at youtube.com/PhoenixOverdrive, or subscribe to us via SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/PhoenixOverdrive, or find us on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play Music by searching for Nerd Overdrive. Thank you to our panel for your insight. For our game gurus, the sultry queen of the guild, Becky Ruben-Navarro, and El Capitan, Rey Osorio, I am Lee Navarro, the maestro of the master race, and your host and moderator, with a reminder to always #Rise Above. Nerd Overdrive, out.
Later, guys.
Rise above, guys.